I'll help you. Having finished off the weird ancestor, Yue Ming turned toward the other battlefronts. Shi Hao was being blown apart again and again. Yue Ming gripped his chaos sword and moved to rush to his aid. Before he could, Shi Hao shouted him back. Don't worry about me for now. I can still hold on. The immortal emperors of the weird race outnumber ours, and our side is on the verge of collapse. Go deal with those dark immortal emperors first. Although Shi Hao kept getting torn apart, the weird ancestors could not finish him off quickly. They simply couldn't kill him in a short time. Yue Ming nodded. Then hold on. After I cut down the dark immortal emperors, I'll be right there. He charged. With a single casual swing of the chaos sword, a dark immortal emperor fell outright. The sight stunned everyone, both the weird side and the surprised faces in the heavenly court. They already knew Yue Ming was strong, otherwise he wouldn't have slain a weird ancestor. But a formal dark immortal emperor being felled in one stroke was terrifying. His combat power bordered on monstrous. Once Yue Ming began, the tide shifted instantly. Dark immortal emperors were cut down one after another. With the chaos sword in his hands, killing them felt like slaughtering livestock. None withstood even a single blow. One by one, the 10 dark immortal emperors fell beneath his blade. Freed by this sudden turn, Lu Ming and the others surged forward to slaughter the dark quasi-immortal emperors like tigers among sheep. The weird forces routed in an instant. That collapse triggered another chain reaction. The heavenly court's quasi-immortal emperors, unopposed, turned on the dark immortal kings and quickly finished them. The battle below the immortal emperor level closed decisively in the heavenly court's favor. Let's go help the others. Yue Ming cried after cutting down the 10th dark immortal emperor. He dashed to Shi Hao's sector. Shi Hao, understanding immediately, handed a trapped weird ancestor over to Yue Ming. In the center of the plateau, Yue Ming met Shi Hao and Li Shanhe head-on. The clash that followed shook heaven and earth. Entire dark worlds ruptured, the great Tao trembled, and the wasteland plateau itself nearly tore apart. If not for the plateau's extraordinary nature, it would have fragmented. A chilling, oppressive aura blanketed the scene, and cultivators from countless realms watched, breath held. The heavenly court had secured the lower-level battles, but this final confrontation among legendary figures would determine the true victor. Yue Ming and Shi Hao fought with everything they had. After a prolonged titanic struggle, they succeeded. All the weird ancestors were slain. They were annihilated utterly, without any remaining chance of resurrection. Li Shanhe, drenched in sweat, had been sustaining the suppression with the golden pagoda. Operating that artifact consumed a terrifying amount of energy, and he had only been able to keep the 5 weird ancestors divided and restrained. Release them all, he ordered, and pushed the pagoda to its limit. He activated it and let the 5 leak free, only for Shi Hao and Li Shanhe to seize 2 each, keeping them separated. With none of them able to reunite, Yue Ming struck down the lone, isolated weird ancestor. The remaining 4, held fast by Shi Hao and Li Shanhe, were cut down one after another by Yue Ming's chaos sword. In the end, all 10 weird ancestors were permanently wiped out. The moment the final ancestor died, a notification chimed directly into the minds of Yue Ming and the other transmigrators, an announcement from their chat group. The Shrouding the Heavens World advanced quest had reached its final stage and was completed. Ding! Congratulations on completing the final stage of the quest. Your quest rating this time is 9.5, and your final average rating is 9.2. Congratulations on obtaining 630 origin points. Because Yue Ming had slain so many of the major foes himself, his performance rating was unexpectedly high. He received more than half the rewards. Anomaly, came a voice from the far end of the plateau. At that single word, everyone present, except for Yue Ming and a few other transmigrators, grew pale. They realized, as Yue Ming had long suspected, that the wasteland plateau possessed a degree of consciousness. They knew, too, that the plateau's primal substance was ash, the remnants of a being above the sacrificial Tao. That supreme being had once dwelt on the plateau and been buried there. Its scattered power had become part of the plateau's nature. The weird race's ability to keep reviving had been tied to that dispersed power. Any creature that absorbed the primal substance and was recognized as part of the plateau effectively shared in the plateau's restorative force. Yue Ming had known this. That was why he had used his Chaos Sword to annihilate the primal substance inside the weird ancestors and the dark immortal emperors. Only by destroying that tether to the plateau could they be killed permanently. The wasteland plateau was sentient, but it had limitations. As long as the transmigrators and their allies avoided returning to the plateau, its consciousness could not actively interfere with them. Still, as long as the plateau existed, it could someday spawn another weird race unless someone kept watch over it indefinitely. Unfortunately, my cultivation is still too low, Yue Ming muttered, looking at the Chaos Sword. The sword was an 8th-tier supreme treasure and, in theory, could destroy the plateau, but he lacked the cultivation to unleash its full power. Lu Ming laughed confidently. Don't worry, even if the weird race is reborn in the future, that won't be for an extremely long time. By then, I'll be much stronger. What will the wasteland plateau be then? A flick of my hand with proper power, and it'll be gone. Yue Ming smiled and nodded. For now, the weird race was gone, and his companions had time to grow. Lu Ming, as a core member of the transmigrator lineage with an excellent golden finger, had a very good chance of breaking through to the 8th tier in time. Once Yue Ming himself reached Primal Chaos Lord and truly mastered the Chaos Sword, he had no doubt he could destroy the plateau. Now my only worry, Yue Ming said softly, is how the future battles on the 3 great heavenly emperors' side will play out. The weird race of the heavens had already resumed its invasion of the shrouding the heavens world in that future timeline. Although the future 3 great heavenly emperors were currently holding them back, no one could say how long they could sustain that defense. The war was over for now on the plateau, but the longer struggle across the heavens had only just begun. Chapter 222, The Transmigrator of the Swallowed Star World. There's no use worrying about what might happen. All we can do is pray that the 3 great heavenly emperors of the future will be strong enough to resist the invasion of the weird race from the heavens. Right now, the only thing you can do is cultivate diligently and strive to break through to above sacrifice Tao as soon as possible. Besides, the invasion of the shrouding the heavens world is only a branch of the weird race, not their main force. The 3 great heavenly emperors of the future will have the advantage of terrain and should be able to hold them off. Don't fret too much. Li Shanhe understood Lu Ming's worries, but no amount of fretting would change anything. They could only hope the future 3 great heavenly emperors would be powerful enough. Lu Ming's only practical choice was to break through to above sacrifice Tao quickly and go to support them. I understand, Lu Ming replied with a soft sigh. He felt somewhat confident about breaking through to sacrifice Tao, but above sacrifice Tao was another matter. That realm was uniquely perilous. It wasn't just about sacrificing a Tao, but about sacrificing everything. One had to return to absolute stillness and then be reborn from it. If anything even slightly went wrong during the breakthrough, it led to eternal damnation, true irreversible death. It required not only enormous strength, but an iron will. If one hesitated before the stillness, lacking the heroic resolve of, though a myriad of men stand against me, I shall go forth, lacking the courage to give everything up and an unshakable faith that would swallow time and stand forever, one would doom oneself. Lu Ming lacked none of the external conditions. With the chat group's resources and his position as a core member of the Transmigrator lineage, he could, given time, obtain any external aid. What he lacked was that absolute, unwavering belief to walk into oblivion. The future desolate Heaven Emperor, Emperor Ye, and Emperor Chu all died heroically in battle. Even though they faced certain death, they charged forward without hesitation. Their chi was magnificent before the stillness. They sacrificed everything to seal the weird race, and only then did they ascend to above sacrifice Tao. Lu Ming admitted he might never be like them. If confronted with the same fate, his first instinct might be to rely on the chat group and transmigrate elsewhere. He even sometimes considered switching to a cultivation system from another world. The shrouding the heavens world system was simply too treacherous. The deeper one cultivated, the more one had to keep sacrificing, and one small mistake could mean true death. Why worry about possible futures now? The weird race in this sector has been annihilated. We should send immortal emperor-level powerhouses from the two great heavenly courts to take turns guarding outside the wasteland plateau to prevent any living being from accidentally stepping onto it, Yue Ming said, standing in the void realm and looking toward the mist-shrouded wasteland plateau. The mist there contained terrifying power. Fortunately, the plateau's consciousness was hazy and didn't know how to fully use it, or they would have been overwhelmed. I agree, Yue Ming said. Not only will I send guards to the plateau's perimeter, I also intend to purchase an 8th-tier sealing treasure to completely seal the wasteland plateau. I don't have enough origin points at the moment, though, so I'll wait until I've accumulated more. Yue Ming had used all his origin points to break through to the Immortal Emperor realm and had none left to buy an 8th-tier seal. But as an administrator of the chat group, he received a salary, so it wouldn't take long to save up. Good. Mission complete. I'm going back to the Coiling Dragon world for now. If anything comes up, at me in the communications group, Li Shanhe said, then departed. Yue Ming also did not linger in the Shrouding the Heavens world. After exchanging a few words with Yue Ming, he returned to the Swallowed Star world. As soon as he arrived, the chat group pinged inside his mind. Ding! Chat group has detected traces of other transmigrators. At first, Yue Ming assumed it was just a routine mission summary. The chat group always issued summaries after missions. Then he realized the meaning, and his eyes widened. Other transmigrators had actually arrived on the Swallowed Star world. He had been away on a mission in the Shrouding the Heavens world for only a few years. He'd been busy with external assignments, and now someone had moved into his home. That was intolerable. The chat group's alert also implied these newcomers were not members of the transmigrator lineage, wild transmigrators. But the notification only said a transmigrator had been detected. It gave no location. Yue Ming would have to find them himself. Interesting, he murmured, unable to suppress a smile. With his current power, another transmigrator arriving on the Swallowed Star world was like a gift. Any newcomer would have only transmigrated for a few years at most and wouldn't be matured. The only complication was the vast number of life forms in the primordial universe, which made the search troublesome. But given time, Yue Ming was confident he could find the intruder. Ancestral Master, lend me the primordial universe for a moment, he said, sending a sound transmission to Origin Ancestor. Then his consciousness slipped into the origin land of the universe, instantly supplanting Origin Ancestor's awareness and becoming the primordial universe's source will. Searching for the transmigrator on his own would be slow. Using the primordial universe was far faster. Origin Ancestor gasped silently. As the primordial universe's source will, he had absolute control over it. But Yue Ming had taken it without resistance. That was terrifying. Origin Ancestor was suddenly grateful. Yue Ming belonged to the human race. If Yue Ming had been born into another race, that would have been disastrous. Origin Ancestor even wondered if Yue Ming had already surpassed the God King realm, because even a God King should not be able to strip him of control so easily and without causing harm. What realm has Yinhe reached now? Origin Ancestor murmured in disbelief. Yue Ming scanned the entire dimensional universe C through the primordial universe, looking for any trace of the transmigrator, but found nothing. Whoever had come to the Swallowed Star world was hidden extraordinarily well, leaving no detectable flaws. I'll see how long you can keep hiding, Yue Ming thought. He wasn't worried. The transmigrator might remain hidden for a year or two, but he wouldn't be invincible forever. Yue Ming focused the primordial universe's attention on those prodigies whose cultivation broke through faster than normal, anyone accelerating through the realms unusually quickly. Eventually, such a brilliance would betray itself, and when it did, Yue Ming would find them. Chapter 223, The Legendary Galaxy True Master. I can't believe I transmigrated into the world of Swallowed Star, and of all times, I came too late. The original plot is already unrecognizable. Luo Feng has long since broken through to Universe Lord, and the Jin world appeared 8 million years earlier. Lu Nan felt a wave of helplessness. Not only had he transmigrated too late, there was already another transmigrator in this world, the human race's strongest, the legendary Galaxy True Master. Since arriving here 6 months ago, Liu Nan had heard so many stories about the Galaxy True Master that his ears were numb. He was praised as the strongest in the universe sea, the greatest prodigy in human history. Tales of his rise from Earth, his performance in the Peak Genius Battle, his apprenticeship under Ice Peak Lord, and ultimately his leadership in unifying the primordial universe were told everywhere. From those stories, Liu Nan had no doubt. The Galaxy True Master, like himself, had to be a transmigrator. The state of the Swallowed Star timeline was obviously connected to him. As a fellow transmigrator, Liu Nan knew the mentality all too well. Once a transmigrator's identity was revealed, death was almost certain. He had been hiding his origins carefully ever since he arrived. But the Galaxy True Master is terrifyingly powerful, Liu Nan thought. He unified the primordial universe. He must have an incredible golden finger too. I wonder what it is. Since the human race unified the primordial universe, human territory had expanded steadily. New human universe nations had been established until there were 3,000 in all. Liu Nan's current nation was the newly founded Buchanan Universe Nation. In this life, he was Buchanan James, a member of the imperial family and a direct descendant of its founder. His grandfather was a universe overlord. That status bought him privilege and cultivation resources, but Liu Nan knew how small that power really was beside the Galaxy True Master. To become the strongest in the universe sea, after once killing 10 universe strongests in a single battle, and to suppress beings like Origin Ancestor, whoever he was had to be at the peak of true God. Liu Nan had also heard that Origin Ancestor, a 10th Order true God, had already been released. The fact that the Galaxy True Master could suppress Origin Ancestor only emphasized how fearsome he was. Many of the human race's deepest secrets, like the full truth about Origin Ancestor's influence over the primordial universe, were not known to Liu Nan. If he knew more, he might hide even more cautiously. This body's aptitude is mediocre, Liu Nan admitted privately. Compared to ordinary people, I'm a genius, but next to true geniuses, I'm nothing. Luckily, my transmigrated identity opens doors. My grandfather's status buys a lot of resources. In the Buchanan Universe Nation, Liu Nan was indeed considered a genius. With imperial support, breaking through to Undying, and perhaps even reaching Universe Exalt was within sight. But as a transmigrator, he wasn't willing to settle for becoming just another Universe Exalt. His real target was to break into the ranks of Universe Strongest, pass through reincarnation, and get to the Origin continent. Fortunately, his golden finger wasn't nothing. As with many transmigrators, his essential treasure was a chat group, specifically the villain chat group. Any 9th-rank transcendent who understood how chat groups work could create one. Their core function was to communicate across the all heavens and myriad worlds. Individual groups differed in additional features based on how their founders set them up. The villain chat group's members were all villains, clever, devious figures who weren't easy marks. Liu Nan was a little frustrated. Most of his groupmates came from low-rank worlds, many from wuxia settings, and their value for his current situation was limited. They were smart, but not strategically useful. What kept the group valuable, though, were chat points. Points could be exchanged to improve cultivation rank. Over the past half-year, by trading Swallowed Star resources for points within the group, Liu Nan had climbed from Astral Rank 9th to Universe Rank 9th. He was only a few points from breaking through to Territory Lord rank. At his age, that meant he could already rival other geniuses of the universe, and with his grandfather's status, he stood a good chance of getting a cultivation slot in Primordial Chaos City. But Primordial Chaos City made him nervous. It was the top cultivation holy land. The Galaxy True Master had moved the black patterned stone pillar from the universe boat back to the human race, and its cultivation benefits were immense. Even Universe Exalts competed for places there. The city also drew so many strong figures that Liu Nan worried the Galaxy True Master might be among them. If he went there and drew attention, his transmigrator identity could be exposed. No pain, no gain, Liu Nan decided. I have to risk it. Primordial Chaos City is where the 5 major forces recruit, where the Chaos Tablet and the black patterned stone pillar are. That's where I can get the resources to rise fast. He had read the original novel. The 5 major forces were the human race's backbone, the human universe nations, despite appearances, could not compare to them. Joining one of those five was the fastest route to powerful cultivation resources, and to more chat points he could trade to advance rapidly and close the gap with the Galaxy True Master. Regardless of how formidable the Galaxy True Master was, no one could surpass a Void True God without going through reincarnation. If Lunan stayed low-key and didn't act out of character, perhaps the Galaxy True Master would never suspect him. If he performed exceptionally well, he might even be taken as a disciple by a Universe Lord or True God, an outcome that could vault him far beyond his current limits. Chapter 224. The Transmigrator arrives at Primordial Chaos City. I've finally stepped across the threshold of an origin law, the law of time, one of the two higher-level origin laws. Now I can truly be considered a genius. Even among the top geniuses in the universe, I probably won't be far behind. 2 years had flashed by, and Lunan had at last crossed the threshold of the origin law of time. To reach universe rank 9 before 50 and comprehend an origin law marked him as a genuine prodigy. Although the points from the villain chat group could directly boost his cultivation realm, true comprehension of an origin law depended on the individual. The chat group could, by spending points, grant a temporary Dao comprehension buff that greatly aided understanding, but Lunan knew the real work had to be his. He kept the chat group to himself and never spoke of it aloud. Universe lords and true gods in the swallowed star world could even reverse time, and he wasn't willing to take any risks. Besides, origin laws were brutally difficult to master. Raising one's realm was comparatively simple. Many core members of the five great powers relied on nutrient pods, but the benchmark for genius in the human race was whether one could comprehend an origin law. "It's a pity the peak genius battle is still more than 2,000 years away," he muttered. "I can't wait that long. With my current grasp of the law, I can't promise first place, but breaking into the top 10 should be easy." Although Lunan had earned the opportunity to cultivate in Primordial Chaos City through his grandfather Buchanan, that privilege was only that, an opportunity, not an automatic induction into one of the five great powers. Only by proving himself in Primordial Chaos City or by ranking well in the peak genius battle could he gain a guaranteed place among the five powers as a core member. He could technically wait the 2,000 years and compete then, but Lunan wasn't one to stall. One slow step, and everything lagged behind. That was why he had pushed himself to break through to universe rank. Having already crossed the threshold of the origin law of time, he hurriedly messaged his grandfather. Buchanan replied at once, "Get ready, you'd be sent to the primal universe in 3 years." 3 years passed in a blink. On the appointed day, after dozens of spatial transmissions through divine territories, Buchanan brought Lunan to the pan-universal headquarters of the Virtual Universe Corporation. Buchanan himself was a member of that corporation. The moment they entered the time-space tunnel toward the primal universe, Lunan felt violently ill despite being prepared. He went pale and vomited, clutching himself as a strange temporal disorientation battered him. "We're still in the time-space tunnel," Buchanan explained gently. "Because the time flow here and in the primal universe aren't the same, the tunnel causes temporal turbulence. It'll make you uncomfortable for a while. Hold on, once we enter the primal universe, it will settle." Logically, a universe-rank cultivator who had grasped the law of time shouldn't have reacted so badly. Buchanan considered that Lunan's endurance was simply weak. When the discomfort finally subsided, they arrived. Lunan's senses cleared, and he looked around in awe. The primal universe was dim and vast. Wisps of chaotic chi drifted through the void. Far off, the heavens and earth occasionally split open, revealing countless strange script-like patterns flowing across the edges of the riven space. Crystal-clear threads stretched between those rifts, and on them drifted luminous secret patterns, like a gigantic loom weaving the heavens and earth ever larger. Origin law. Lunan, a transmigrator, had known the primal universe's reputation from novels, but seeing it in person was entirely different. Cultivating in the primal universe accelerated one's comprehension of origin laws by more than tenfold. He stared fixedly at the secret patterns threading the distant rifts, his heart beating fast. The primal universe was truly the human race's holy land of cultivation. Coming to Primordial Chaos City had been the right decision. "I'll take you to the reception envoy first," Buchanan said. "From now on, you should devote yourself to cultivation in Primordial Chaos City. I have many friends there, and I've already mentioned you. If you run into trouble, go to them for help." Buchanan had always loved Liu Nan like a favored junior. Because Liu Nan's parents had died young and Buchanan had been involved in their deaths, he felt a long-held guilt that explained his willingness to push for Liu Nan's spot in Primordial Chaos City, despite objections from others. Even within the Buchanan imperial family, many had opposed wasting such a valuable place on Liu Nan. Now that Liu Nan had grasped the law of time, those objections would be much harder to raise. "Thank you, grandfather. I'll cultivate well and won't let you down," Liu Nan said sincerely. Though he was a transmigrator, he genuinely respected Buchanan and vowed quietly to repay him in the future. Buchanan led Liu Nan into Primordial Chaos City and handed him over to the city's reception envoy. After that, there was nothing more for him to do. He had no right to meddle in Primordial Chaos City's affairs. Liu Nan began his cultivation life there. 10 years passed in another flash. Relying on the advantages from the villain chat group, Liu Nan's ascent was extraordinary. In just 10 years, he swept through 6 levels of the Heavenly Bridge, causing a considerable stir in Primordial Chaos City. Many universe exalts expressed interest in taking him as a disciple. Liu Nan, proud and ambitious, barely entertained them. Anyone worthy to be his master would need to be at least a universe lord. In his mind, the ideal master was the lord of Primordial Chaos City itself, who had already broken through to the true God realm. Chapter 225, Finally Found You. While Liu Nan's cultivation advanced quickly in Primordial Chaos City, and he hoped to become a disciple of the City Lord, Yue Ming continued to screen suspects throughout the primordial universe. After a little more than a decade, Yue Ming was sure he could find the transmigrator. The primordial universe contained too many beings for him to monitor constantly, so he focused first on those who had been unremarkable and suddenly became prodigies, those whose cultivation had leapt forward in recent years. He also watched for beings whose personalities changed drastically. Even if a transmigrator absorbed the memories of a predecessor, they would never be an exact copy. Their personality and decision-making would be shaped by the newcomer. Finally, if anyone suddenly produced treasures that clearly did not originate from the swallowed star world, Yue Ming would detect it immediately. The transmigrator, however, was extremely cautious. After more than 10 years, he had left not a single clear trace. "There are still over 3 billion suspects," Yue Ming muttered. Over the decade of screening, the suspect list had been whittled down repeatedly, but it was still enormous. Liu Nan, cultivating in Primordial Chaos City, remained one of Yue Ming's prime suspects. His progress had been unbelievably fast, and his temperament had shifted noticeably. Another 10 years passed. Liu Nan's law comprehension improved rapidly. He soon broke through and passed the 7th level of the Heavenly Bridge. That finally drew the attention of the Primordial Chaos City Lord, who sent an envoy to ask whether Liu Nan would accept becoming a disciple. The City Lord intended to make him a disciple, and Liu Nan, perhaps because of the novel he'd read long ago, harbored a certain admiration for the City Lord. He agreed immediately. The inner mansion of the City Lord's residence was heavily guarded. Rows of undying spiritual gods stood at the gate. They didn't stop Liu Nan, having presumably been informed in advance. A familiar voice greeted him. "You must be Buchanan James," Venerable Guyi said with a smile. "I am Venerable Guyi. My master sent me to fetch you. Don't be nervous. Buchanan and I go way back. My master plans to take you as a named disciple. Soon you'll have to call me senior brother." Venerable Guyi's smile had an infectiously reassuring warmth. They did, in fact, have a shared history. Buchanan was a universe overlord and a member of the Virtual Universe Corporation, so a connection was natural. "Greetings, Venerable Guyi." Liu Nan saluted respectfully. Venerable Guyi was now a top universe overlord and the City Lord's second personal disciple. His status was enormous. Liu Nan bowed low, careful not to offend. "Seeing you now, I can't help but think of the Galaxy True Master," Venerable Guyi said with a hint of nostalgia. Your comprehension and talent are excellent. If you keep this up, you could possibly reach the 9th level of the Heavenly Bridge within 30 years here. Keep working hard. Hearing Lunan's polite comportment, Venerable Guiyi felt a touch of déjà vu. It had been at this very spot, years ago, that he had welcomed the great Galaxy True Master into the City Lord's inner sanctum. Time, he realized, had flown. I grew up hearing the legends of the Galaxy True Master, Lunan said, eyes bright. Venerable, could you tell me some of his deeds? Since Lunan had been careful not to inquire about the Galaxy True Master himself, fearful of drawing attention, Venerable Guiyi's willingness to bring the topic up felt like an opportunity. Venerable Guiyi smiled and obliged. To recount all of his deeds would take days, he said. Many of them are already well known, but I'll tell you what you likely don't know. Compared to the Galaxy True Master, your talents are still far behind. Do you know how many levels of the Heavenly Bridge he passed in 30 years here? 13. Since Primordial Chaos City was established, no one else reached the 13th level within 30 years. Don't think passing the 7th level in a little over 20 years is the peak. That's nothing compared to the Galaxy True Master. On the Heavenly Bridge, each step grows exponentially harder. 3 to 4 levels is a challenge, 6 to 7 another, 9 to 10 yet another, and 12 to 13 stands as its own abyss. That was why the City Lord had noticed Lunan. The speed of his progress suggested the hint of something extraordinary, possibly similar to Yue Ming long ago. So prodigious, Lunan thought to himself. He had been a little proud of his own achievement, reaching the 7th level, but now, hearing about the Galaxy True Master's feats, he felt humbled. Venerable Guiyi continued to tell stories of Yue Ming's deeds. Lunan's future as a named disciple was essentially settled. There was even hope he might become a personal disciple in time. If not for that, Venerable Guiyi wouldn't have shared so much. We've arrived. Go in. Don't keep my master waiting, Venerable Guiyi said, leading Lunan through corridors and plazas until they stood before a secluded courtyard. A huge stone stele outside the gate bore 3 vigorous, archaic characters: Chaos Ruins. Lunan entered the courtyard and finally saw the legendary primordial Chaos City Lord. Unlike the depictions in the novel, the City Lord had already broken through to the true God realm. With many clones merged into a single main body, he now presented as a human in form. Your talent is fine, and you have other opportunities. I won't pry into those. I only need to confirm that you are human. I intend to take you as a named disciple. Do you accept? The City Lord asked. Lunan was about to kneel in thanks when something stopped him. He found himself suddenly unable to move. A figure had appeared within the Chaos Ruins. The newcomer wore a simple green robe and seemed unremarkable at first, but his eyes were as deep as the ocean and as expansive as a star-strewn sky. The moment Lunan glanced up, a trance descended over him. From that man's body radiated the origin law of the universe itself. Lunan felt, viscerally, as if he were standing before the universe's root. This was no illusion. It was a genuine, overwhelming sensation. Galaxy, the City Lord said, pausing. Yue Ming's sudden appearance and the way he reached into Lunan left the City Lord momentarily startled. Lunan heard the City Lord call the newcomer Galaxy, and his heart skipped. He had not expected to meet the legendary Galaxy True Master so soon. Had his identity as a transmigrator been discovered? Chapter 226, Chat Group Subsystem. Senior Marshal Uncle, this one's a problem. Leave him to me. Yue Ming glanced at Lunan without much explanation. He was almost certain Lunan was the transmigrator he'd been hunting. He had just attempted to read Lunan's memories, only to be blocked by an invisible force. Lunan must have discovered his identity as a transmigrator. Lunan paled inside. Yue Ming's look confirmed his worst fear. His transmigrator identity had been exposed. He had been careful for years, barely ever slipping up. How had Yue Ming found him? There was no time to dwell on it. If Yue Ming knew, Primordial Chaos City Lord certainly would not let him live. To survive, Lunan had no choice but to log into the villain chat group for help. Most members of that group were mediocre and came from low-rank worlds, but there were exceptions. 2 of the strongest were an immortal king from a Xuanhuan world and a golden immortal from a mythological world. By the villain chat group's ranking, they were 6th-rank existences. In contrast, a universe lord or true god in the swallowed star world was only 5th rank. If those two decided to act, they could sweep through the swallowed star world with ease. "This one's yours to handle," Primordial Chaos City Lord said, nodding solemnly. He didn't doubt Yue Ming. Yue Ming rarely interfered in human race matters. Alarm from him meant the matter was grave. Even if Lu Nan had been his disciple, the city lord thought the human race's safety came first. Better to be ruthless than suffer betrayal. Yue Ming suddenly lifted his gaze into the void realm and sensed qi crossing worlds. From that qi alone, it was clearly a 6th-rank presence, very likely someone Lu Nan had called. A chat group type golden finger, then. Yue Ming didn't act right away. Any high-rank being descending into the swallowed star world would be constrained by this world's supreme rule and would have to seal their strength down to a 10th-order true god level to avoid suppression. That gave Yue Ming an opening. "Heh? Is this the swallowed star world the willow deity mentioned? I didn't expect the restrictions here. Only true immortal levels can roam freely." The newcomer was Immortal King Lanlan from the Ming Xuanhuan world, one of the most powerful members of the villain chat group. Willow Deity was Lu Nan's chat handle. Lanlan's laughter died mid-sentence when he saw Yue Ming. He froze. He couldn't sense Yue Ming's qi at all, only a visible presence. If not for seeing him, Lanlan wouldn't even perceive him. Terrifying. Yue Ming was not an ordinary immortal king. He was something beyond. Lanlan suspected a trap, that Lu Nan had lured him here. He tried to escape back to his world, but he couldn't. The moment Lanlan descended, Yue Ming had acted. Yue Ming produced a transparent, illusory sword seal, the small, faintly silver magical artifact Sectmaster Tongchen had forged at Yue Ming's request for capturing golden fingers like systems or chat groups. Knowing transmigrators almost always carried golden fingers, Yue Ming had prepared 3 of these sword seal artifacts. The sword seal activated, shattering into thousands of sword lights that wove into a net and formed an independent space. The net severed Lanlan and Lu Nan's connection to their villain chat group. Without that channel, Lanlan could not use the group to escape the swallowed star world. "If I'm not mistaken, you two belong to a certain chat group," Yue Ming said, his voice cold within the sealed space. Inside the net, both their cultivations were sealed. Yue Ming scrutinized them, patient. If they refused to cooperate, he had no reason to linger. "We can't," Lanlan stammered, but his voice trailed off. His expression and Lu Nan's both shifted from arrogance to fear. "Spare us. It's not that we're being stubborn. There are rules. We can't reveal information." They weren't bluffing. The villain chat group had strict restrictions that prevented members from disclosing any group information to outsiders. "Then you left me no choice," Yue Ming said coolly. He raised his hand and killed them. As their life threads snapped, 2 faint points of light were left behind. The sword net contracted, swallowing the 2 lights until the net tightened back into the sword seal and flew into Yue Ming's palm. Curious, Yue Ming opened the chat group maul and appraised the relic. The 2 lights sealed inside were subsystems of something called the villain chat group. Each subsystem, the appraisal read, was worth 1,000 origin points at the chat group maul. Yue Ming considered for a moment and did not immediately sell them. He planned to consult Sectmaster Tongtian. Maybe he could use the subsystems to gain access to the villain chat group. Yue Ming, 7th rank. "Sectmaster, the transmigrator in my world has been dealt with. I obtained a subsystem called the villain chat group from that transmigrator. How should I handle it?" "Great desolation. Sectmaster Tongtian, 9th rank. Chat group subsystems aren't very valuable. Auctioned at the Myriad Heavens Mall Alliance, they won't bring many origin coins. If you want to sell them directly to the chat group mall." Sectmaster Tongtian's reply explained the truth. A chat group's value lay in its main body, not in the scattered subsystems members hold. Sectmaster Tongtian himself possessed the main body of chat group number 98. Everyone else only had subsystems. Even at auction, a subsystem would only fetch a marginally higher price than selling straight to the chat group mall, hardly worth the hassle. Chapter 227, The 5th Administrator. Yue Ming, 7th rank. "I'm very interested in that so-called villain chat group. Now that I have a subsystem of it, Can I join the villain chat group through the subsystem? Sectmaster Tongtian, ninth rank. Theoretically, yes, but I advise against it. Only a ninth rank transcendent, or perhaps an even higher ancestor, can create a chat group. No one truly knows why they create those chat groups. It's very likely a trap. If you join, you're actively exposing yourself. At that point, I might not be able to save you. Sectmaster Tongtian had watched Yue Ming grow and cared for him. He would not stand by and watch him die, but he also could not be with him every moment. If Yue Ming entered that villain chat group, the creator could sense his coordinates and descend on the swallowed star world instantly. 1,000 days as a thief is not the same as 1,000 days of guarding against a single powerful enemy. Even if Yue Ming left the swallowed star world and hid in other worlds, it would be useless. The enemy would be targeting him, not a place. Yue Ming, 7th rank. In that case, forget it. Nothing is more important than my life. I'll just sell the villain chat group subsystem to the chat group mall. It's a pity, but no risk. Sectmaster Tongtian, 9th rank. Within the all heavens and myriad worlds, the transmigrator lineage is a top force. Most don't dare provoke you. But powerful individuals hide everywhere. Avoid provoking them if you can. With your potential, you'll very likely break to 8th rank, and there's even a slim chance of 9th. Don't risk your life for a chat group. At 9th rank, you could create such a chat group yourself. For a 9th rank transcendent, creating systems or chat groups was trivial. Sectmaster Tongtian could have created thousands if he wished, but there was no need. He believed in Yue Ming's potential and didn't want him to take unnecessary risks for a curiosity. While Yue Ming was talking with Sectmaster Tongtian, the villain chat group had erupted over the deaths of Immortal King Lanlan and Liu Nan. Liu Nan wasn't especially powerful in the group. He was above average, but not top tier. Immortal King Lanlan, however, was one of the chat's two strongest and very well known. Lanlan's death dragged out many hidden members, but none talked about revenge. Villainy rarely comes with self-sacrifice, and nobody wanted to throw their life away. Instead, the chat was full of relief. Many had been tempted when Liu Nan begged for help. He'd offered huge sums of points and many promises, and several had almost joined him. Now they counted themselves lucky they hadn't. The group's members were all asking the same question. What kind of enemy could instantly kill Immortal King Lanlan? Lanlan was 6th rank. To kill him in an instant meant an enemy beyond 6th rank. More terrifyingly, Lanlan had died despite being able to call the villain chat group for escape, so the enemy must have the power to restrain or nullify the group itself. That possibility chilled them more than any loss. Cell subsystem. Ding! Congratulations, you have gained 2,000 origin points. After his talk with Tongtian, Yue Ming opened the chat group mall and sold both villain chat subsystems. Each fetched 1,000 origin points, 2,000 in total, which he fully converted into origin coins. The source world inside him needed at least 50,000 origin coins to grow into a normal source world. 2,000 was only a small step. He hoped the chat group would release more intermediate or advanced missions. Elementary missions were not worth his time. He was focused on gathering origin points and reaching world-level Hun Yuan lifeform as fast as possible. Tens of thousands of years flowed by, almost without notice. He took occasional intermediate missions from the chat group for origin points, but most of the time he secluded himself, practicing the Tao of chaos and trying to seize its essence. It was difficult work. After a long period of cultivation, Yue Ming left his source world and entered the infinite primordial chaos space to search for any newly born source worlds he could find. One day, while wandering the infinite primordial chaos space, a notification popped into his chat. Someone in chat group number 98 had broken through to 6th rank and become a new administrator. Yue Ming, 7th rank. Liu Qing, congratulations. Liu Qingqing, 6th rank, thank you. The new administrator was Liu Qingqing, transmigrated to the immortal reversal world. Her golden finger, infinite fishing, ranked 555th in the golden finger listings. She had been a latecomer, but had surpassed many older members to become the 5th administrator of the group. Lu Ming had already invited her into the administrator's communication group. Yue Ming's relationship with Lu Qingqing was casual, more accurately, almost non-existent. They had hardly spoken. Still, he knew her reputation. Yue Ming kept tabs on any chat member whose golden finger ranked in the top 1,000, and when Lu Qingqing first joined the villain chat group, he had checked her profile. He had read the Immortal Reversal novel. Its world was high-ranked, and infinite fishing was a very strong golden finger. Her promotion did not surprise him. Chapter 228, World-Level Hunyuan Lifeform. Is that an innate primordial chaos lifeform? Yue Ming sent a wisp of his consciousness to the chat group as he wandered through primal chaos space. In the distance, he saw something enormous, an innate primordial chaos lifeform, a terrifying beast the size of a dimensional universe sea. His expression shifted. After sending a short message into the group, he immediately exited it and fixed his gaze on the creature. An intermediate 8th-tier supreme treasure, the Chaos Sword, silently appeared in his hand. Yue Ming had been roaming primal chaos space for many years. This was the first innate primordial chaos lifeform he had encountered. Its strength wasn't extraordinary, roughly on par with his own realm, comparable to a high-level primordial chaos lifeform. The beast noticed him and roared, its huge, pale blue eyes locking onto Yue Ming. Seeing the sword, it felt threatened. Die! Yue Ming charged with the Chaos Sword, going all out from the first strike. Cultivators and the innate primordial lifeform race were fundamentally at odds. There was no question of mercy. The fight was brief and decisive. With their strengths similar but armed with an 8th-tier supreme treasure, Yue Ming needed only 3 blows to cut the high-level innate primordial chaos lifeform down. The commotion from that fight was considerable. It might attract other native beasts. I should leave. He gathered the corpse with a wave of his hand and vanished in a blink, seeking a secluded spot. He laid the massive carcass out for study, a dragon-like behemoth as large as a dimensional universe sea. Even dead, it radiated strange fluctuations. Every part of its body manifested profound laws. Patches of green scales, the hundreds of billions of light-years-long tail, the patterns on the sharp horns along its back, all displayed dense, mysterious secret techniques. Yue Ming examined the corpse carefully. The countless mysterious secret techniques revealed various laws of the life Tao, unfathomably profound. Different parts of the body displayed different applications of primordial chaos-level life Tao. I've gained a lot. Although Yue Ming had comprehended the way of eternal chaos, the chaos Tao encompassed everything. All Taos could be absorbed into it. The innate primordial life forms innately carried many profound and mysterious laws in their bodies. Yue Ming felt a surge of ambition to kill more of these life forms and study the secret techniques encoded in their remains. Perhaps that would help him grasp the origin and break through to the primal Chaos Lord realm. He tried to sell the corpse to the chat group mall, and to his surprise, it could be traded for origin points. Selling innate primordial chaos lifeform corpse. Congratulations, you have gained 100 origin points. That discovery made him even more determined. He could both study secret techniques and accumulate origin points. Over the next few 100,000 years, Yue Ming continued to wander infinite primal chaos space. He didn't find any newly born source worlds, but he hunted hundreds of innate primordial chaos life forms, including many world-level specimens. Elementary life forms sold for 10 origin points, high-level for 100, and world-level Hunyuan life forms for 1,000. In that time, he accumulated over 40,000 origin points. One step closer. When he finally gathered 50,000 origin points, Yue Ming prepared to break through to a world-level Hunyuan lifeform. He found a secluded place, condensed all 50,000 points into origin coins, and began secluded cultivation to impact the world-level transformation. Decades passed. He refined every origin coin. The source world inside him, devouring those coins, expanded wildly until it reached the size of a normal source world. Yue Ming succeeded. He broke through and became a world-level Hunyuan lifeform. His inner source world had grown to the size of a regular source world, as vast as the origin continent and the 3,000 dimensions universe sea. Despite having studied so many innate primordial chaos corpses, he still hadn't grasped the origin. He stayed in seclusion, spending tens of thousands more years refining martial philosophy, creating the third layer of the sky-cutting secret art to world-level will secret techniques, and forging the 12th form of the heaven-severing sword technique to world-level primordial chaos attack secret techniques. Rank, world-level Hunyuan life form, rank 7. Realm, way of eternal chaos, will, world primordial chaos, will bloodline, elementary primordial chaos, bloodline secret techniques, sky-cutting secret art, third layer, heaven-severing sword technique, 12th form. Yue Ming opened his rank panel. With his breakthrough, his will had advanced to the world level, but his bloodline rank remained elementary. That could be raised by spending origin points. Having become a world-level Hunyuan life form, he was now only one step away from Primal Chaos Lord status. He needed to comprehend the origin and evolve his unique primordial chaos power. His next plan was to raise his bloodline to the world level. Tens of thousands of years slipped by. Yue Ming continued to roam infinite primal chaos space, relentlessly hunting innate primordial chaos life forms. None he encountered escaped, all fell to the chaos sword. After reaching world-level Hunyuan lifeform rank, his strength had improved dramatically. Even world-level innate primordial chaos lifeforms could hardly endure a single strike. He still had not met any ancestral-level lifeforms, those comparable to primal chaos lords. His relentless hunting began to stir the infinite primal chaos space. Rumors spread. A powerful cultivator was preying on low-ranking innate primordial chaos lifeforms. "It's that little fellow? I didn't expect him to grow so fast in just a few 100,000 years. His speed is terrifying." Not only did the primordial lifeform race take notice, cultivators did as well. Several primal chaos lords, including Yuan, who had previously interacted with Yue Ming, turned their attention to him. Yue Ming's displayed strength astonished many. Although he had just broken through to world-level Hunyuan lifeform, his overall power was comparable to a primal chaos lord. With the Chaos Sword's enhancement, even some primal Chaos Lords might not match him. Chapter 229, First Meeting with Yuan. Thinking it over, the situation made sense. When Yue Ming had been a high-level primordial chaos lifeform, his Chaos Sword alone could slay sacrificial Dao, beings comparable to primal Chaos Lords. Now that he had advanced to a world-level Hunyuan lifeform, dispatching a primal Chaos Lord had become even easier. Relying on the sword, Yue Ming could not claim to be invincible across the infinite primordial chaos space, but at his new level, the weapon amplified his power enough that he could easily contend with 3 to 5 primal chaos lords at once. While Yue Ming had still been hunting innate primordial chaos lifeforms, the legendary Land of Eternity had become the scene of a tense council. Dozens of ancestral innate primordial chaos lifeforms had gathered there. The Land of Eternity was peculiar above all else in the infinite primordial chaos space. Time there stood still, and the spatial stability was absolute. Even a high-level primordial chaos lifeform entering the Land of Eternity would be flattened by its gravity. Only those at the primal chaos lord level could stand there at all. At the center of that place sat a round table ringed by thrones. On them reclined the ancestors, forms as varied as they were terrible. They were discussing Yue Ming. "Those cultivators," one of them rumbled, "start from nothing, weak and insignificant, and through cultivation step by step, they rise to become primal chaos lords. They master origin. We were born at our peak, but we cannot master origin." It was the fundamental difference between the innate life forms and the cultivators. The innates were born powerful, but the cultivators, starting from the lowest rung, could train, accumulate, and eventually reach the same heights. That possibility made the cultivators a dire threat. "The cultivators now possess more and more primal chaos lords," another ancestor said. "We must find a way to weaken them, or one day our innate race will have nowhere to stand." Coiled around one of the thrones was a colossal snake, its presence radiating destruction. A single scale of its hide could dwarf a normal source world. It was one of the 5 supreme ancestors of the innate primordial lifeform race, being so ancient and resilient they had almost reached immortality. Their bloodlines were special. Killing one was unthinkable. "That cultivator is beyond dangerous," the snake hissed. "Although only at the world level, his strength is on par with a lord, even surpassing ordinary lords. We cannot allow him to grow. We must eliminate him before he becomes a primal Chaos Lord, or he will be a grave hidden danger. While the ancestors plotted Yue Ming's extermination, Yue Ming himself encountered the legendary Yuan somewhere in the infinite primordial chaos space. The fabled Yuan turned out to be a kind-looking, white-haired old man, unassuming but resonant with ancient power. "Greetings, Senior," Yue Ming said. "I must thank you again for the primal chaos light you bestowed last time." Yue Ming felt indebted to Yuan. Of all the primal chaos lords, Yuan was the most inclined to nurture promising younger beings. Yuan's gift had transformed Yue Ming's soul, and Yue Ming had never forgotten it. Yuan studied him for a long moment, then sighed. "In all these endless years, I have traveled countless source worlds and met innumerable prodigies and geniuses. Yet compared to you, they are far inferior." Yuan was one of the oldest primal chaos lords and had seen more than most. His praise meant a great deal. "Listen," Yuan continued. "You cannot continue hunting innate primordial chaos life forms. You have slain too many. You have drawn the attention of their ancestors. They are already convening in the land of eternity to discuss your elimination." Yuan had come to warn him. Despite Yue Ming's formidable strength, if the innate ancestors besieged him, the risk would be extreme. His death would be a significant loss for the cultivators. "Thank you for the warning," Yue Ming replied. He had expected this eventuality, but not so soon. His plan had been to hunt still more innate life forms and gather origin points before any reaction, but the innate race had reacted first. Every innate corpse was an origin point to him, and for hundreds of thousands of years, he had preferred hunting to taking missions because it earned points faster. Now that the ancestors were mobilizing, continuing on that path would invite overwhelming retaliation. After a moment of thought, he decided to return to a source world and cultivate in seclusion for a time. Meeting a primal chaos lord in person, however, Yue Ming did not stand on ceremony. He pressed Yuan with questions about cultivation. Above all, how to master origin. He stood one step away from ascending to a primal chaos lord. All that remained was to comprehend the origin. Yuan did not hold anything back. He answered nearly every question Yue Ming posed and demonstrated various primordial chaos Dao on the spot. Among the primal chaos lords, Yuan's experience and mastery were unparalleled. He had absorbed more primordial chaos Dao than almost anyone else. His accumulation was vast. In fact, aside from the innate ancestors, Yuan was the only primal chaos lord capable of creating a source world. Under Yuan's guidance, Yue Ming's understanding leapt forward. The chaos Dao encompassed everything. By deepening his grasp of individual primordial chaos Dao, Yue Ming's comprehension of the chaos Dao as a whole improved markedly. "You are only one step away from mastering origin," Yuan said. "You need a catalyst. Then you will be able to perceive the true meaning of origin and break through to become a primal chaos lord." "Thank you for clarifying," Yue Ming answered. He had spent countless years observing innate primordial chaos lifeform corpses and had accumulated extensive insight. His comprehension had reached a bottleneck. The final barrier that remained was like thin paper over a window, one breath away from tearing through. A catalyst was elusive. It was the kind of thing that sometimes arrived suddenly, like winning a lottery, or not at all for ages. Much depended on luck. For now, Yue Ming would retreat and prepare. The threat from the innate ancestors had arrived sooner than he liked, but with Yuan's warning and teachings, he had time to hide, refine, and wait for whatever catalyst fate might bring. Chapter 230, Ice Peak Lord's Breakthrough. While the innate primordial lifeform race scoured the primal chaos space for Yue Ming, he had already slipped back into the source world. He had no intention of being hunted down by that entire race before he himself could break through to the primal chaos lord realm. Tens of thousands of years passed like a blink. One day, Luo Feng came to Yue Ming seeking guidance on genetics. Over the years, Luo Feng had devoted himself to studying countless lifeforms and had raised his life genetic level to 89,999-fold. But that last step stubbornly refused to change. He had been stuck at 89,999 for more than 100,000 years. The final leap felt like an insurmountable chasm. At last he thought of Yue Ming and came to ask for help. "Brother Ming, my life genetic level has been stuck at 89,999-fold, and I can't push it any further. If I'm not mistaken, your genetic level must be higher, probably over 90,000-fold. How did you get past that bottleneck? Luo Feng guessed at Yue Ming's level. He didn't dare imagine 100,000-fold, since even on the origin continent, a 100,000-fold gene was legendary. I won't hide it, Yue Ming said. My life genetic level reached 100,000-fold before I broke through to true God. But the path I took won't work for everyone. Still, I have a suggestion. Study the world beast's genes. Although the Dark Land and the world beasts were top secret information, news of them had already spread among the human race's leaders. Almost every universe lord and above knew of them. I've thought of that, Luo Feng replied, but the world beasts are still gestating. They won't truly appear until the late stage of this reincarnation era, maybe near its end. I can't wait that long. The current primordial universe was only in the middle stage. There were at least 5 to 6 trillion epochs before the end of this cycle. Luo Feng did not want to wait that long. Then take a drop of my blood, Yue Ming offered. You can study it at your own pace. But I must warn you, my bloodline rank is exceptionally high. Your current realm may be too low to extract much. You may not be ready. Yue Ming forced out a single drop of golden blood. It looked ordinary to the eye, but it contained an unfathomable depth of secret for those who could perceive it. If Luo Feng could thoroughly analyze that drop, he could very well reach the 100,000-fold gene. With luck, he might even break through to an elementary primordial chaos bloodline. Thank you, Brother Ming, Luo Feng said, deeply moved. Giving one's blood was an act of absolute trust, and Yue Ming's gesture spoke volumes. Yue Ming's blood, however, was not something a low-ranking existence could exploit. In his current condition, handling that blood would require a rank 8 or higher to do anything meaningful. Then again, an existence of rank 8 could simply extinguish Yue Ming outright with a casual move. The gap between rank 7 and rank 8 was an abyss. Luo Feng did not linger. He retreated into seclusion within the black patterned stone pillar space and resumed his study. Tens of thousands more years passed. Then, one day, Yue Ming sensed a familiar aura within the human race, an aura surging toward the true God realm. Teacher is about to break through, Yue Ming thought, and his will swept out, confirming it. His teacher, Ice Peak Lord, was making a decisive push into the true God realm. This was the third true God to be newly born in the human race since Luo Feng obtained the Duandong legacy. The first two had been Darkness Lord and Lord Pengong. With Ice Peak Lord's potential success, the human race would count 7 true gods in total. Though Luo Feng was technically a universe lord, his combat strength was on par with true gods. Many in the primordial universe and Universe C refused to categorize him among the typical universe lords. Yue Ming teleported to Ice Peak Lord's side. Many had already gathered there, Origin Ancestor and the primordial Chaos City Lord among them. Yue Ming appeared silently, undetected. At his current cultivation, if he wished to remain hidden, even Origin Ancestor, who had possessed the original universe's source will, could not sense him. His gaze swept the crowd and settled on Ice Peak Lord. His accumulations should be sufficient. Breaking through to true God shouldn't be a problem, Yue Ming observed inwardly. From that single glance, he could assess Ice Peak Lord's situation. If nothing went wrong, there was at least a 70% chance of success. Even if something went awry, Yue Ming planned to intervene. He could not abandon his teacher. A vast illusion of laws swelled above Ice Peak Lord like an infinite ocean. Divine seawater poured down in a torrential downpour, relentlessly devoured by Ice Peak Lord's divine body. Because Ice Peak Lord had no clones to return and merge, his breakthrough proceeded much faster. His god realm expanded until it became a miniature universe, hungrily consuming chaos chi to grow. The miniature universe continued to swell until it reached a diameter of 100 million light-years, at which point it completed formation. An irresistible force then pushed the miniature universe out of the primordial universe. Through the membrane of the primordial universe, the miniature universe was ejected into the boundless universe C. The membrane opened a massive hole 100 million light-years across, then began to seal itself, visibly recovering. Congratulations, teacher, on becoming a true god. Yue Ming stepped forward to offer his congratulations. At Yue Ming's arrival, the assembled universe lords of the human race also stepped forward to pay their respects. Dozens of new human universe lords had arisen in the intervening years. Many of them were seeing Yue Ming in person for the first time. Chapter 231: Envious Universe Lords. Ever since the human race unified the primordial universe, Yue Ming had rarely appeared in public. He spent most of his time in seclusion and no longer took part in the Giant Axe meeting or the Supreme Council. Many of the newly promoted universe lords had never met him in person. Still, they were far from ignorant of him, the human race's strongest individual and the most formidable presence in the universe sea. They had heard of Yue Ming's deeds so often that the tales were part of every newcomer's upbringing. Ha ha! After cultivating for hundreds of billions of eras, I've finally reached the true god realm. Ice Peak Lord laughed, his spirits high. From the moment he became the Origin Ancestor's disciple, through countless racial wars and untold eras of cultivation, he had finally broken through to the true god realm, truly standing at the peak of the universe sea. Congratulations, Ice Peak. Junior brother Ice Peak, congratulations. True God Ice Peak, congratulations. As Ice Peak Lord's success became clear, the other universe lords stepped forward to offer their congratulations and present gifts they had prepared. Most offerings were peak-tier treasures. A few among the senior ranks, Primordial Chaos City Lord, Great Axe Founder, and others, presented supreme treasures. Ever since the world of Jin appeared, the human race no longer lacked high-grade artifacts. Even newly ascended universe lords often owned at least 2 supreme treasures, and veteran universe lords had nearly completed full supreme sets. Teacher, this is my gift to you. Yue Ming produced a world ring and handed it to Ice Peak Lord. Knowing Ice Peak was already flush with artifacts, even holding a Yuan embryo, Yue Ming didn't give another treasure. Instead, he offered a jade bottle containing a supply of 6th-rank enlightenment pills, medicinal pills that markedly boost comprehension. Yue Ming had spent a large number of points to buy them from the chat group mall. For someone freshly arrived at the true god realm and about to enter seclusion to create 7th-rank offensive secret techniques, they would be extremely helpful. The pills would temporarily enhance Ice Peak's comprehension and also slightly increase it permanently, shortening the time needed to develop new techniques. Ice Peak Lord extended his will to scan the world ring and found a single jade bottle floating inside, containing a dozen pills. With his discerning sight, he didn't recognize the pills at first. These are enlightenment pills. I found them by chance, Yue Ming explained briefly. They can significantly and temporarily raise comprehension, and they also grant a small, permanent increase. Since you've just broken through to the true god realm, they should be perfect for you. As soon as Yue Ming described the pill's effect, every universe lord present glanced at Ice Peak with envy. Treasures that boosted comprehension were extraordinarily rare. Items that raised the life gene level were uncommon in the primordial universe, but could be obtained with effort. Comprehension-enhancing treasures, however, were almost mythical. Many universe lords had never even seen one, let alone owned one. I'm so envious of Ice Peak right now. He not only has a full set of supreme treasures, he even has a Yuan embryo. Why wasn't I the one who took Yinhe as a disciple back then? An older universe lord sighed, eyes full of regret. Since Yue Ming had grown powerful, Ice Peak Lord had benefited immeasurably. Palatial supreme treasures, a Yuan embryo. How could others not be jealous? Yue Ming had obtained 10 Yuan embryos from the Duan Donghe lineage legacy space. He used 4 himself, gifted 1 to Ice Peak Lord, and placed the remaining 5 in the human race treasury. Of those 5, Origin Ancestor had exchanged 1 away, leaving 4 still stored in the clan treasury. Yuan embryos commanded such astronomical value that ordinary universe lords and even many true gods could not hope to afford them. Who could have imagined the young man would rise so far? Another veteran murmured, using the familiarity only seniors dared to afford. The newer universe lords didn't dare breath loudly in Yue Ming's presence, much less address him informally. Teacher, what realm do you think Yinhe has reached now? Primordial Chaos City Lord asked, his envy barely concealed as he looked at Yue Ming standing above the void. That moment of oversight, recommending Yue Ming to Ice Peak Lord, had been a regret he'd carried for years. I don't know. Origin Ancestor said gently, shaking his head. Even with the primordial universe's resources, Yue Ming's depth was difficult to gauge. It was certain he had reached the God King realm, but whether he had gone beyond that was unclear. Over the years, Origin Ancestor had spoken with Zuo Shanki many times and learned much about the Origin continent, but even there the legendary figure known as the Yuan remained shrouded in mystery. No one in recorded history had clearly broken beyond the God King. Reliable information about the Yuan was scarce, and Zuo Shank himself only knew fragments and rumors. The human race has given birth to another true god? Ever since they obtained the Duan Donghe lineage legacy, their power has grown so quickly in just a few 100,000 years. Yes, the human race controls the world of Jin. Human universe lords can come and go from the world of Jin freely. For us, obtaining even a single foothold there is nearly impossible. With the world of Jin's resources, it's hopeless for us to challenge human rule. As time passes, their power will only grow. Word of Ice Peak, Lord's breakthrough spread through the primordial universe like wildfire. He was already the human race's seventh true god. Each additional true god made the human race's position ever more unassailable, and it reduced the hope of those rebellious factions that still dreamed of overthrowing human dominance. They did not yet know Yue Ming's true strength, nor that Origin Ancestor had seized control of large swathes of the primordial universe. If they did, many would abandon resistance altogether. No one could easily overturn the human race's rule now. Chapter 232, Expansion of the Primal Universe. Since Galaxy is here, I have an announcement. My strength has already reached the peak of the 10th Order True God. I can no longer advance in my current state, so I intend to undergo reincarnation soon and enter the legendary Origin continent. After Ice Peak Lord completed his breakthrough and the senior members of the human race had taken their leave, Yue Ming was about to retreat into seclusion when Origin Ancestor summoned him to stay. They were in Primordial Chaos City, the gathering place for all true god level and higher existences in the primal universe. Teacher, are you certain? Primordial Chaos City Lord's expression turned grave when he heard Origin Ancestor's plan. Reincarnation was no trivial matter. Even at the peak of the 10th Order True God, the chance of failure was high. A failed reincarnation meant the destruction of both body and Tao. If you're not very confident, you should postpone it. There are still trillions of epochs left in this reincarnation era. You could afford to accumulate more. Great Axe Founder echoed the caution. He himself desired to undergo reincarnation. His cultivation had shot up in recent years, and he had already broken through to the 10th Order True God, but he lacked the confidence to risk it now. Origin Ancestor smiled faintly. Rest assured, I don't plan to undergo reincarnation immediately. The odds of succeeding at the True God level are too dependent on luck. I'll break through to the Void True God realm first, and then undergo reincarnation to enter the Origin continent. After taking control of the primordial universe's original source will, Origin Ancestor had secluded himself for hundreds of thousands of years. His comprehension of the laws had advanced rapidly. Breaking through to the Void True God realm was no longer difficult. He could do so at will. With Ancestral Master's level of law comprehension, he could have broken through long ago, Yue Ming said approvingly. If he reaches Void True God sooner and goes to the Origin continent sooner, he can become a primordial chaos dominator faster. When does Ancestral Master plan to break through? I plan to break through immediately. Origin Ancestor had no intention of delay. The human race had already risen to dominance in the primal universe and the universe C, with 7 true god-level powerhouses. His presence or absence would not make an existential difference. He would break through to the Void True God realm at once. So our human race will have its first Holy Land universe? Excitement rippled through the assembly. A true God miniature universe could last for at most 3 reincarnation eras. Only a Holy Land universe could endure indefinitely, barring catastrophic external forces such as an encounter with a world beast or an eternal true God. A few days later, Origin Ancestor began his breakthrough. As expected, he succeeded. He rose to the Void True God realm. At the very moment of his breakthrough, the entire primal universe trembled. Void realm passages opened one after another along the boundary, pouring in an endless stream of chaos chi. The influx did not damage the primal universe. Instead, the chaos chi caused the universe's membrane to swell and expand. The expansion was staggering. 1.1 billion light-years, 1.2 billion. The primal universe's diameter surged. As it grew, the space occupied by primordial Chaos City seemed proportionally smaller. The larger the universe became, the more void realm passages formed, and the more chaos chi poured in. The growth accelerated. In short order, its diameter passed 4 billion light-years, exceeding the size of the former two great Holy Land universes. Under ordinary circumstances, true God miniature universes were about 100 million light-years across. Newly produced void true gods commanded miniature universes of roughly 1 billion light-years, capped at 9.9 billion. But because Origin Ancestor had taken control of the primordial universe, he could draw on its maximum energy to nourish the primal universe. Rapidly, it swelled to the 9.9 billion light-year limit. Even the former two great Holy Lands had never exceeded 4 billion light-years after eons of accumulation. This expansion was unprecedented. Congratulations, teacher. Congratulations, Origin Ancestor. Congratulations, Ancestral Master. Everyone stepped forward to offer their congratulations, Yue Ming included. Origin Ancestor's breakthrough was a momentous event for the human race. They would now possess their own Holy Land universe. The primal universe had expanded from a 100 million light-year miniature to a vast 9.9 billion light-year Holy Land. Any further leap past 10 billion would approach eternal true God territory. Origin Ancestor's expression sobered. After breaking through to void true God, the supreme rule requires me to undergo reincarnation in the Dark Land within 3 years. The reincarnation passage is already open. When the time comes, Galaxy, I'll need you to accompany me. He was worried. Although he controlled the primordial universe, the supreme rule barred him from using its power to suppress a world beast. Once he departed for the Origin continent, he would be beyond reach. No problem. Yue Ming nodded. He was well acquainted with the Dark Land. He had traveled to the Origin continent through its passage before. With or without Yue Ming's accompaniment, Origin Ancestor's strength was sufficient. World beasts were still too nascent to pose an immediate threat. Once I go to the Origin continent, the world beast matter will have to be left to you, Galaxy, Origin Ancestor added. Yue Ming's mind turned to the world beast. He had once planned to enslave a world beast and cultivate it into a world beast king, but the world beast had emerged too late. His own breakthrough pace had been far faster than expected. Now a world beast king would offer him little advantage. Yue Ming had already become a world-level Hunyuan lifeform. If he wished, a single thought could erase a world beast that had not yet fully formed. But he chose not to. He would let Luofeng deal with it according to the original plan. Thinking of Luofeng, Yue Ming sent his will outward and found Luofeng still in seclusion within the black-patterned stone pillar space, studying a drop of blood. Luofeng had clearly made progress. His life gene level had already broken through 90,000 times. Yue Ming realized he had underestimated Luofeng's capacity for study. Such a count could only mean real achievements in his research. Chapter 233, Origin Ancestor Ventures into Reincarnation. The Dark Land is just ahead. That day, all the true God-level powerhouses of the human race gathered at the mouth of the Dark Land, deep within the collapsing peak world, one of the 3 forbidden lands of the Universe Sea. They had come to witness the legendary reincarnation passage. Everyone would have to face reincarnation someday. Seeing it now was preparation. They passed through the Dark Land and entered a vast void where the reincarnation passage hung in the emptiness. A gigantic corridor shimmered with flowing, multicolored energy. At its entrance, blurred figures drifted, some human, some from the monster race. Those are the souls of beings born in the primordial universe and the Universe Sea after they die, Yue Ming explained to the group. They flow into the reincarnation passage toward the Origin continent, but weak souls are annihilated inside the passage. Only the strong can reach the Origin continent. At the mouth of the passage, billions of figures streamed by every moment. Venturing into reincarnation was deadly. Only a void true God could resist the tearing force of the passage with certainty. A 10th order true God at their peak might have only a 10 to 20% chance. Anything weaker was almost certain annihilation. The closer they drew, the more nervous primordial Chaos City Lord and the others grew. With their current strength, apart from Great Axe Founder, the only 10th Order true god among them who had that slim chance, everyone else had almost no hope. The tearing force of the passage was merciless. True gods could hold out for a time, but not indefinitely. A Universe Lord would be shredded the instant they entered. Everyone, don't worry, Yue Ming said calmly. If the Ancestral Master could fail in reincarnation, then East Emperor and Purple Moon would have perished long ago. Yue Ming showed no anxiety. Origin Ancestor had only just broken through to the Void True God realm and had yet to stabilize, but Yue Ming judged the chance of failure extremely small. East Emperor and Purple Moon had both been 10th Order True Gods and had managed to pass through, so a Void True God like Origin Ancestor should have no trouble. If anything went wrong, Yue Ming would intervene. "I will wait for you on the Origin continent," Origin Ancestor announced. He looked at the crowd, drew a deep breath, then stepped forward. In an instant, his form became a streak of light and merged into the colorful passage until he vanished completely. Only Yue Ming, by virtue of his cultivation, could still watch as Origin Ancestor entered the passage. Origin Ancestor's life gene level was not particularly high. He had not followed the divine body path, but because he had performed possession on the primordial universe, his foundation far exceeded that of an ordinary void true god. Once inside the passage, he felt restraints and shackles fall away and was able to unleash his full strength. With his power fully exerted, the tearing force had no effect. "Let's go back. The Ancestral Master is safe and should reach the Origin continent without trouble," Yue Ming said, withdrawing his gaze. The group left the Dark Land, and Yue Ming did not accompany them back. He teleported straight to the primordial universe and into the Origin Land. Years passed in the blink of an eye. When Yue Ming detected Origin Ancestor's arrival on the Origin continent, he peered across the vast distance. His cultivation allowed him to see it. Unfortunately, Origin Ancestor's landing spot was unlucky. He had appeared inside the territory of an indigenous power. If Yue Ming hadn't intervened, Origin Ancestor's discovery by the indigenous people would have spelled disaster. On the Origin continent, the indigenous forces and the cultivator powers were irreconcilable enemies with a long-standing blood feud. If Origin Ancestor's identity were exposed, he could not leave that territory alive. Although he had just broken through to Void True God, undoubtedly near the peak in the 3,000 Dimensions Universe C, on the Origin continent, Void True Gods were small fry who could barely protect themselves. From an immense distance, Yue Ming waved his hand and shifted Origin Ancestor into the territory controlled by the cultivator forces. He would not interfere further. He trusted Origin Ancestor's talent and comprehension. Having performed possession on the primordial universe, given time, he was a sure candidate to break through to Chaos Dominator, and with enough opportunity, might even reach the God King realm. Origin Ancestor had barely stabilized on the Origin continent when a blur washed over him and the surrounding scenery changed. He found himself inside a city in the southern state region, one of the major regions of the Origin continent. He was in a kingdom called Zheng Country. Compared with the ancient God King realms, Zheng Country was not extremely old, but its territory was vast, and within it resided hundreds of millions of true gods and countless ordinary cultivators. After considering his situation, Origin Ancestor decided not to join any faction. He was merely a void true god for now. Even if he advanced to eternal true god, his status in the great forces might be low, and he could easily be used as cannon fodder. It would be safer to find a secluded place to cultivate. With his foundation from possessing the primordial universe, he was confident he could reach Chaos Dominator in time, already a formidable rank on the Origin continent. The city he had landed in was an ordinary town common in Zheng Country. No major powers were stationed there. The strongest individual present was only an eternal true god. Origin Ancestor resolved to cultivate in seclusion for the time being. Meanwhile, back in the primordial universe within the dimensional universe, Origin Ancestor manifested a divine power incarnation. This incarnation could command the power of the entire primordial universe, but it could not leave that universe. Once it entered the universe C, it would dissipate. Chapter 234, Swallowed Star Parallel World. Swallowed Star Parallel World? In the deepest reaches of the origin land of the universe, a surprised voice rang out, sending ripples through the boundless primordial chaos. Countless motes of light drifted through the void, circling a magnificent figure. Yue Ming had been in seclusion, but he had left a sliver of his consciousness in the Transmigrator chat group. Just now, a new member had joined, and the world they had transmigrated to was a swallowed star parallel world. The chat group had a strict limit on membership. Each member occupied a fixed slot. New members were only admitted when someone died and remained unreincarnated for 10,000 years. Otherwise, vacancies never opened. This new arrival was filling one of those rare slots. On the swallowed star world, Liu Yun sat there utterly bewildered. He only remembered being hit by a car. When he woke up, he found himself in the swallowed star universe, and he had already joined Transmigrator chat group number 98. As a modern man, he quickly grasped how the group worked. The best part, every new member received a golden finger for free. His own golden finger turned out to be the more children, more blessings system. After spending some time learning about the swallowed star world, Liu Yun's face fell. He had transmigrated into Earth, but in that timeline, the swallowed star plot had already played out, and the peak genius battle had already begun. Worse, the chat group notified him that another transmigrator had arrived in this swallowed star world before him. Even without the notice, Liu Yun would have discovered it, because the peak genius battle was underway, and a newcomer from Earth named Li Ge had already achieved a high rank. According to Liu Yun's research, Li Ge had risen alongside Luo Feng and had even been more prominent than Luo Feng back on Earth. Liu Yun's heart sank. It wouldn't be the end of the world if he missed joining the peak genius battle. He could still join one of the human race's 5 great factions by other means, but another transmigrator in the same world complicated things. Li Ge either had an extraordinary talent or a golden finger, and that made him a dangerous rival. Then Liu Yun noticed something promising. One of the 5 administrators of chat group number 98 had also transmigrated to the swallowed star world. Cultivation techniques native to that world would be the most suitable, and Liu Yun, having just arrived, didn't have many chat group points to buy them. For veteran members, points might mean little, but for a new transmigrator, they could make all the difference in rising quickly. Summoning his courage, Liu Yun sent a private message to the administrator, Yue Ming. Liu Yun, rank 1. Hello, administrator. Pardon the intrusion. My name is Liu Yun. I'm a new member of chat group number 98. I just transmigrated to the swallowed star world like you. I was wondering if you could help, perhaps provide some cultivation techniques or lend me some points. I promise to repay tenfold in the future. Yue Ming read the message and smiled. Liu Yun was frank and sincere. Helping him a little was no trouble. Whether cultivation manuals or chat group points, these things meant very little to a rank 7 big shot like Yue Ming. Things that existed in a swallowed star parallel world existed in the swallowed star world as well. There was nothing particularly worth coveting. Yue Ming was curious to see the differences between the 2 swallowed star timelines, but he didn't want to rush into a transmigration request. Liu Yun had just joined and hadn't fully learned the group's norms. A sudden request to transmigrate would likely be rejected by anyone cautious. So Yue Ming decided on a discreet, generous gesture. He sent Liu Yun a private red packet, a collection of Universe Lord-level secret techniques authored by human race Universe Lords, and 1 trillion chat group points, more than enough for an early-stage transmigrator. Ding! You have an uncollected red packet. Claim. Liu Yun's face lit up. He hadn't expected much. After all, the sender was a rank 7 big shot, and he was only a newly transmigrated rank 1. According to the Myriad World rank comparison, rank 1 signified one who had just brushed up against the supernatural system, true chi, special bloodlines, spiritual power, fighting chi. Those abilities belonged to rank 1. When he opened the red packet, hundreds of Universe Lord-level secret techniques flooded his mind. The 10 basic origin law manuals, the 8 fusion law techniques, top-tier cultivation methods from apprentice to Universe Lord guidance, combat techniques, soul attack and defense methods, virtually every category imaginable. Yue Ming had no way of knowing which origin law Lu Yun would eventually comprehend, so he'd sent the complete set. And with the 1 trillion points, Lu Yun had access to the chat group mall's abundant cultivation resources. He could buy whatever he needed to accelerate his rise and then find a way into one of the 5 great factions. For now, he pushed aside concerns about Li Ge and focused on the immediate opportunity. Lu Yun began selecting cultivation techniques and purchasing a stockpile of resources from the chat group mall. The manuals and guidance Yue Ming had gifted were all Universe Lord level, spanning instruction from the very first steps up to Universe Lord Mastery, more than enough to get him moving fast. Chapter 235, Another Primordial Chaos City. My aptitude is too poor. Even on Earth, I was only average. In the primordial universe, I'm practically worthless. I need to marry more wives, quick. I hope the many children, many blessings system doesn't let me down. Months flew by. With 1 trillion points, Lu Yun stocked up on cultivation resources from the chat group mall and shot up through the ranks, breaking through to the peak of Astral Rank 9. But his talent was still painfully limited. Even with Universe Lord-level secret techniques and endless resources, he made no progress in comprehending origin law. He hadn't even formed a domain, let alone grasped an origin law. With his natural ability, self-advancement toward true genius status seemed almost impossible. So Lu Yun turned to his golden finger, the many children, many blessings system. True to its name, the system rewarded him handsomely for marrying and fathering many children. Over the next few decades, relying on his astral rank strength, he married 12 wives on Earth and sired dozens of children, and the system showered him with rewards, secret techniques, treasures, and various innate talents. Among those gifts were 2 rare talents, a high-level fire origin law talent and a high-level space origin law talent. With those 2 talents, Liu Yun finally comprehended the fire origin law and truly stepped into the ranks of universe geniuses. In the primordial universe, only those who comprehended an origin law were counted among the true geniuses. He first showed his skills in the killing arena in the virtual universe. At first, it drew little attention. Fire origin alone wasn't remarkable in the vast primordial universe, but as his number of children grew and the system continued to supply rewards, his origin law comprehension improved rapidly. Before long, the space origin law crossed the threshold as well, and the Virtual Universe Corporation began to take notice. As Liu Yun had hoped, he was absorbed by the Virtual Universe Corporation as a core member and awarded a cultivation seat in Primordial Chaos City. That promotion drew attention back on Earth, Li Ge among them. Luo Feng, did you hear? Another peerless genius from Earth has shown up. Liu Yun. He was taken in as a core member by the Virtual Universe Corporation and even got a cultivation seat in Primordial Chaos City. I heard. He'll be arriving soon. We should invite him when he comes. After all, we're from the same Earth lineage. We need to stick together outside. Li Ge and Luo Feng were gathered in a certain cultivation residence in Primordial Chaos City. As in the original timeline, Hong and Thunder God had failed in the peak genius battle. Only Luo Feng and Li Jie had broken through the blockade. Li Jie had even defeated Bolin and taken first place in the overall ranking. Indeed, Li Jie said with a smile, though his eyes flickered with a shadow of unease. He still didn't know exactly who Liu Yun was. Was the newcomer the result of some butterfly effect, or was he a transmigrator like himself? If it was the former, there was no need to worry, though that was unlikely. If it was the latter, and Liu Yun really was a transmigrator, then Li Jie would have to eliminate him at all costs. One transmigrator was already trouble enough in the swallowed star world. On the strange universe ship heading toward the primordial universe, Liu Yun was thinking much the same thing about Li Jie. Once he suspected Li Jie was a transmigrator, Liu Yun wanted him neutralized too. He even considered asking Yue Ming for help. Over the years, Liu Yun had chatted with Yue Ming in the group. They weren't close, but they were acquainted. If Liu Yun shamelessly asked for help, Yue Ming would probably agree. Initially, Liu Yun had worried Yue Ming might turn on him after transmigration, but he realized there was little Yue Ming could covet. Liu Yun was only a 7th-rank big shot who had also transmigrated to the swallowed star world. What existed in Liu Yun's world likely existed in Yue Ming's as well. Besides, if Yue Ming wanted to harm him, he wouldn't need to transmigrate to do it. It was worth mentioning that years earlier, Liu Yun had once taken an elementary group mission and nearly died in the mission world. He had been saved by an old member named Li Jing, who knew Yue Ming and had taken good care of him. In the chat group, Liu Yun messaged Yue Ming, "Big shot, what did you think about what I told you before? Want to transmigrate to my world and help clear some obstacles, mainly get rid of that transmigrator?" Liu Yun had been in the group for decades and knew how rare transmigrators were. Most transmigrators came with powerful golden fingers. Killing or capturing one could yield a fortune in origin points. He'd considered taking Li out himself to claim any golden finger, but the risk was too great. He might be killed and lose everything. Better to ask for backup. Yue Ming, 7th rank, replied without hesitation, "When you enter Primordial Chaos City, tell me. I'll transmigrate and help you deal with that transmigrator." Yue Ming had long wanted to transmigrate, curious about differences between the two swallowed star worlds. The chance to confront another transmigrator made the prospect even more appealing. 3 years passed. At last, Liu Yun entered the primordial universe. The instant he arrived, he sent Yue Ming a message. Yue Ming filed a transmigration application and appeared silently beside him. The origin laws of the two worlds are about 99% alike. Yue Ming murmured as he sensed and then expanded his will, quickly sweeping the source world to spot the finer differences. Even parallel worlds retained their distinctions. "Big shot, Yue Ming. Are you here?" Liu Yun looked around, but saw no one. He spoke sotto voce. Yue Ming had concealed himself so well that even standing next to Liu Yun, he was undetectable. No one below primordial chaos rank could sense him. "I'm behind you. That Li Ge is indeed a transmigrator." Yue Ming transmitted quietly into Liu Yun's mind. He had found Li Ge in primordial chaos city. Li Ge was a transmigrator and carried a golden finger, but exactly what that golden finger did would only be revealed after it was taken. Chapter 236, Supporting the Human Race. "I will help you deal with that transmigrator called Li Ge. You can cultivate in primordial chaos city without worry. If you want, I will speak to Primordial Chaos City's Lord and arrange for him to accept you as a personal disciple, or see that some other universe lord takes you in. That way, you'll have a patron in this world." Although this was a parallel world, they were still part of the human race. Now that he had descended into it, Yue Ming felt obliged to do something. Support humanity, leave behind a cultivation legacy, and help them rise faster. Getting Primordial Chaos City's Lord to accept Liu Yun as a disciple would be a small thing. Primordial Chaos City Lord would not refuse a request like that and would give face. Liu Yun had the many children, many blessing system as a golden finger. Given enough time, his rise was inevitable. The system ranked 1,860th on the golden finger leaderboard, quite respectable. Marry more wives, have more children, and the rewards would keep coming. It also had a protection function. As long as the bloodline persisted, he could revive. Even if his soul scattered and his spirit was annihilated, if living descendants of his bloodline remained, Liu Yun could return through them, though he'd have to rebuild all his cultivation from scratch. Of course, if the power gap became too great, Liu Yun could still be permanently killed. Yue Ming, for example, could erase Liu Yun's bloodline at the karma level. Then revival would be impossible. "Then many thanks, Senior. I'd be honored to become Primordial Chaos City Lord's disciple," Liu Yun said at once, practically beaming. Becoming a disciple of Primordial Chaos City's Lord meant a backer in this world and a much smoother path in cultivation. Yue Ming said no more and stepped out into a vast, ruined expanse. The endless plain was littered with the corpses of powerful alien races, some bodies planet-sized, their auras still terrifying enough to make one's heart race. The place looked like the aftermath of an apex battle. Yue Ming walked calmly across the desolation. This scene was familiar. It was the legendary Chaos Ruins. "Who are you?" a deep voice demanded. A burly, 3-meter-tall man stood before Yue Ming, clad in ancient, intricately worked dark red battle armor and boots. A scaly tail protruded from his battle skirt. This was Primordial Chaos City Lord's primary battle clone. Yue Ming's eyes rested on him, and he couldn't help smiling. In Yue Ming's own world, After Primordial Chaos City Lord broke through to True God, his three clones had merged into one, and that clone had vanished. Chaos! Hello, Yue Ming greeted, then pointed. A sliver of light slipped into the clone's mind. A copied memory Yue Ming had duplicated. It laid out his identity and included a basic legacy from the Duandonghe lineage. Though elementary, the legacy contained cultivation guidance from the lowest levels all the way to the Void True God realm. With it, humanity could eventually produce countless universe lords, true gods, and void true gods. Parallel world. Disbelief flickered across the clone's face. The memory Yue Ming had implanted included every step of his rise. Apprenticeship under Ice Peak Lord, joining the virtual universe branch, and ultimately leading the human race to dominate the primordial universe. It even contained secrets of the virtual universe branch, things only Primordial Chaos City Lord himself knew, including certain matters regarding origin ancestor. Coupled with the Duandonghe basic legacy, the clone had no choice but to believe him. Don't be surprised. There are countless parallel worlds. Besides ours, there are others, Yue Ming said. He reached into the air. A giant axe, a full light year in length, manifested in his grasp. The supreme treasure giant axe, the very supreme weapon that the great axe founder obtained in the collapsing peak world in the original timeline. This supreme treasure giant axe is my gift to the human race. He hadn't brought the axe from his own world. He had grabbed it directly from this world's collapsing peak world. It was the best aid he would offer. Yue Ming could, if he chose, let humanity dominate the primordial universe or even the origin continent, but he refused to do so outright. He would give limited help and let them struggle to rise on their own. Primordial Chaos City, Lord's hands trembled as he took the supreme axe. Humanity finally had its own supreme treasure. Between the implanted legacy and the weapon, the Lord was convinced. If anything happens in the future, have Liu Yun contact me, Yue Ming told him. But unless it's a matter of life and death for the human race, don't disturb me. As for that young man Liu Yun, take him as your disciple and cultivate him well. His talent will not disappoint you. Perhaps he, like me, can someday lead the human race to greatness. After giving the axe to Primordial Chaos City Lord, Yue Ming vanished from the Chaos Ruins. With his departure, another presence in Primordial Chaos City silently disappeared as well, Transmigrator Li Ge. Yue Ming erased every trace of Li Ge's existence. Those who had interacted with Li Ge found their memories of him dissolving. Soon no one remembered him at all, as if he had never been there. I never expected a prodigy like this to come from a parallel human race. Primordial Chaos City Lord murmured as he read the memories Yue Ming had copied. He couldn't help sighing with emotion and envy. In that other world, under Yue Ming's guidance, the human race had long since unified the primordial universe and even dominated the universe sea. Primordial Chaos City Lord decided at once to take Liu Yun as his personal disciple. He trusted Yue Ming's judgment. If Yue Ming said Liu Yun might lead the human race to rise one day, it was not an idle claim. Chapter 237, How Powerful is Galaxy True Master? Liu Yun, who had been anxiously waiting for news, suddenly heard a gentle voice in his mind. A dizzying sensation washed over him, and when he opened his eyes, he found himself standing on a ruined plain in a desolate world. Before him stood a hulking man over 3 meters tall, 2 fiery red horns on his forehead and strange secret patterns etched across his face. He looked fierce. This was the Primordial Chaos City Lord's main combat clone. City Lord, I greet you. Liu Yun bowed respectfully. He had naturally guessed that the man before him was a clone of the Primordial Chaos City Lord. Looking upon him was like looking upon the law of the universe itself. He was a universe lord, known as the Lord of Law. His very realm was law. Are you willing to become my disciple? The City Lord asked, studying him. The City Lord's brow tightened. Liu Yun's talent was decent, but only decent. Nowhere near the kind of brilliance that appeared once in 10 million eras. Could he really lead the human race to rise? Still, remembering Yue Ming's words, the City Lord chose to believe pending evidence. He couldn't see through Yue Ming's realm, but Yue Ming was clearly beyond true God. If Yue Ming trusted Liu Yun, then Liu Yun could not be as ordinary as he appeared. Disciple greets master. Liu Yun knelt, excitement rushing through him as he formally accepted the title. At that moment, Luo Feng had not yet risen and had not become a disciple of the primordial Chaos City Lord, so Liu Yun became the City Lord's 32nd personal disciple. You and Galaxy True Master know each other, correct? What is your relationship? What is Galaxy True Master's exact cultivation realm? The City Lord asked, curious. Yue Ming had said Liu Yun could contact him, therefore their relationship could not be shallow. The City Lord wanted to know more about Yue Ming, especially how powerful he truly was. Galaxy True Master and I are only acquaintances, Liu Yun answered. As for how powerful Galaxy True Master is, because of limits imposed by the Source Will, there are things I cannot reveal. I can only say this, even a Universe Lord is like an ant before Galaxy True Master. Teacher knows of the ancient civilization, right? The legendary ancient civilization truly existed. In that civilization, True God was just another starting point of cultivation. Even then, Galaxy True Master could easily destroy that ancient civilization. Liu Yun admitted he didn't fully understand Yue Ming's strength himself. He only knew Yue Ming was 7th rank. In the tier system, 7th rank corresponded to a primordial chaos life form. Both an elementary primordial chaos life form and a primal chaos lord could be 7th rank. How that translated to Yue Ming's actual power remained unclear. The City Lord inhaled sharply. He had expected Yue Ming to be powerful. Otherwise, Yue Ming could not have led the human race to unify the primordial universe. But he had not expected him to be so overwhelmingly strong that he could annihilate the legendary ancient civilization. From the fragments and ruins the human race had found across the universe sea, one could glimpse how formidable that civilization had been. If you compare Galaxy True Master to a Universe Lord, Liu Yun continued, then the entire universe sea would be like a mere life planet to him. In other words, if Galaxy True Master wanted to, he could easily annihilate the whole universe sea. To make Yue Ming's power more tangible, Liu Yun used that vivid analogy. A single strike from a Universe Lord could destroy a large cluster of galaxies. If Galaxy True Master eclipsed that, his destructive scale would be incomprehensible. I understand. The City Lord nodded slowly, an expression of both awe and relief crossing his features. Yue Ming's strength lay far beyond his comprehension. Yet seen this way, Yue Ming's support of the human race in a parallel universe could indeed be genuine. The City Lord had worried that there might be a hidden agenda behind Yue Ming's help. There's no such thing as a free lunch, but with Yue Ming's power, if he had designs, he would not have needed to be so subtle. Perhaps Yue Ming truly only wished to help. You can contact Galaxy True Master any time, right? The City Lord asked. Having learned how formidable Yue Ming was, the City Lord briefly considered using that power to sweep aside the various peak races to unify the primordial universe or even the entire universe sea. But he dismissed the idea. Yue Ming had already said that unless the human race faced extinction, they should not disturb him. He clearly did not intend to meddle in the human race's affairs here. If the human race wanted to rise, they would have to rely on themselves. Still, with Yue Ming as a safeguard, if catastrophe approached, they would have a last resort. And with the Duandonge lineage legacy, it was only a matter of time before the human race rose, barring unforeseen accidents. Yes, Disciple can contact Galaxy True Master at any time, Liu Yun said truthfully. He believed that this connection would increase the protection around the human race. Though he carried a lifeline, his ability to resurrect through his bloodline, no one in the primordial universe could permanently kill him as long as his descendants survived. But each death and resurrection forced him to cultivate from scratch and cost him the system rewards he had earned. Various talents and advantages would be lost. If he could avoid death, Liu Yun certainly preferred to. From now on, you will remain in the City Lord's mansion to cultivate. If you encounter any difficulties, consult me anytime. I have classified your information as top secret. No one below Universe Lord may access it. Disciple obeys. The City Lord waved him away, dismissing Liu Yun. After Liu Yun left, the primordial Chaos City Lord contacted the Great Axe founder through the virtual universe and related everything Liu Yun had told him about Yue Ming. He also planned to hand the supreme treasure, the Great Axe, over to the Great Axe founder for his use. But compared to that supreme weapon, the Duandonghe lineage legacy was even more precious. With the legacy in hand, The city lord was confident he could break through to true gods soon. His accumulations were already sufficient. After discussion, the two agreed to convene a great axe meeting to announce the existence of the Duan Donghe lineage legacy and allow all human universe lords to study and cultivate from it. They decided not to mention Yue Ming, instead claiming the legacy had been discovered by the great axe founder while exploring ruins of the ancient civilization. Chapter 238, The Transmigrator's Mentality Collapsed. You, who are you? Li Ge, the transmigrator, went pale. Terror flashed in his eyes. He had been cultivating in seclusion in primordial Chaos City when, in a moment of spiritual trance, someone spirited him out. When he opened his eyes, he found himself back on Earth. The person standing before him looked like an ordinary human, yet whoever could slip into primordial Chaos City and take him out without detection was not ordinary. Primordial Chaos City was guarded by the City Lord, a top-tier universe lord. To extract someone from under that City Lord's nose and get away with it, not even a typical true god-rank powerhouse could manage it. Who was this man? You're Li Ge, right? Let me show you something. Yue Ming waved his hand, and an invisible fluctuation rippled through the Milky Way. Time there began to flow backward, like a film running in reverse. Past events rewound at incredible speed. Scenes shifted and slid back until the moment Li Ge had transmigrated and descended unfolded again. Li Ge's face went through disbelief, then recognition as he muttered about transmigrating and started shouting about a system. As a transmigrator, you're hopelessly careless, Yue Ming said, shaking his head. You came out shouting as soon as you arrived, as if you wanted to announce your identity. Don't you know universe lords and true god-rank experts can reverse time and space? Li Ge froze. Yue Ming's words had given him away. Yue Ming was a transmigrator too. If their roles were reversed, Li Ge thought, he'd do everything possible to eliminate another transmigrator who'd revealed himself. You're a transmigrator as well? Li whispered. Like you, yes, Yue Ming confirmed. But there are more than the two of us in the Swallowed Star world. Besides you and me, there's another transmigrator. Guess who? You've definitely heard his name. Yue Ming's smile was faint as he looked at Li Ge. He named Liu Yun, another prodigy from Earth who had risen through the Virtual Universe Corporation and even earned a spot to cultivate in primordial Chaos City. Li Ge had heard of him. His reputation was impossible to miss. That Liu Yun is a transmigrator, Yue Ming continued. I knew it. How else could such an unparalleled genius appear on Earth? In the original plot, there wasn't anyone like him. Li Ge's face darkened. His composure was crumbling. If Liu Yun's a transmigrator too, why are you only going after me? This isn't fair, he spat. If you're going to betray us, you can't just pick on one of us. You're a wild transmigrator, Yue Ming said. Liu Yun and I belong to the transmigrator lineage. I didn't just come here for fun. I came to help Liu Yun deal with wild transmigrators like you. Hearing that, Li Ge's expression fell apart completely. Everyone else belonged to an organized force, a lineage spanning the all heavens and myriad worlds, and he was alone, ostracized. The idea of being singled out by coordinated opponents crushed his will. I'll tell you everything I know, Li Ge stammered. Mercy. He didn't get the chance. With a casual motion, Yue Ming annihilated him. In the aftermath, pouring from the void, was a sphere the color of chaos, a dense, oppressive aura that spoke of great power. Yue Ming instinctively checked. He'd once traded for 3 sword seals from Sect Master Tongtian. 2 remained unused and were in his possession. When he picked up the remnants among Li Ge's possessions, one of the sword seals lay there unactivated. That meant Li Ge's so-called golden finger wasn't some kind of system or a chat group. Whatever had allowed him to transmigrate was not the same as Yue Ming's link. The chaos-colored sphere floated in the void realm. Its aura was unmistakable, supreme. Yue Ming logged into the chat group, opened them all, and ran an identification. The sphere was a 9th rank incomplete supreme treasure. A 9th rank incomplete supreme treasure. Among the treasures sold in the chat group mall, the highest items Yue Ming had seen were only 8th rank top-tier supreme treasures. Holding a 9th rank spare was anything but simple. Yue Ming felt no triumph. Instead, his brow tightened. He closed the mall, opened the member list, and prepared to consult Sect Master Tongtian. Yue Ming, 7th rank, Sect Master, I just killed a transmigrator and obtained a ninth rank incomplete supreme treasure. I think I may have gotten myself into serious trouble. He reported the whole thing honestly, how he'd transmigrated to the swallowed star parallel world, killed Li Ge, and recovered the ninth rank incomplete supreme treasure, and sent the treasure to Sect Master Tong Tian via a red packet. Great desolation. Sect Master Tong Tian, ninth rank, you've indeed gotten yourself into trouble. If I'm not mistaken, that Li Ge was very likely a fallen ninth rank transcendent who had reincarnated. That ninth rank incomplete supreme treasure is a contingency he prepared for himself in his past life. He was simply unlucky. You intercepted him before he had the chance to awaken. Ninth rank transcendents were overlords across the all heavens and myriad worlds, but not even they were immune to downfall. When a ninth rank fell, their complete annihilation was difficult. Over time, they could return in various forms and eventually awaken, resurrecting their former power. Only a 10th rank ancestral level existence could completely erase a fallen 9th rank's karmic traces to prevent their return. Otherwise, a 9th rank could not be truly killed. Li Ge had been exactly that, a fallen 9th rank transcendent who had returned, not yet fully awakened. Yue Ming had cut him down before his past life memories and full power returned. Chapter 239, Ancestor Level Primordial Chaos Bloodline. Yue Ming, 7th rank, swallowed star, thought to himself, I killed the Transcendent's reincarnation and took his supreme treasure. When he truly revives and returns, won't I be in serious trouble? The incomplete 9th tier supreme treasure, the chaotic sphere, was clearly a contingency the unknown 9th rank Transcendent had prepared for his eventual return. By killing his reincarnation and seizing the treasure, Yue Ming had cut off that path and created a massive karmic enmity. He knew the Transcendent would eventually try to settle it. Sect Master Tong Tian, 9th rank, Hong Huang, replied, even a 9th rank Transcendent pays a heavy price to revive. You've killed his reincarnation and prevented his return. You've made an immortal enemy. Pray his revival is delayed. If he stands alone, it's one thing. Our transmigrator lineage is a top power in the myriad heavens. Ordinary cultivators won't provoke us. But if his allies belong to another top power, your trouble will be grave. I can shield you for a while, but not forever. You must be prepared. The only way to truly defend yourself is to break through to 9th rank and become a transcendent before he revives. Then, even if he seeks you out, you'll have the strength to deal with him instead of waiting to die. Yue Ming, I want to break through too, but reaching 9th rank isn't easy. I'm not even at 8th yet. Still, I won't just wait for death. How long before he might revive? Tong Tian, that's hard to say. It could be as short as billions of years or as long as trillions. It depends on his luck. A 9th rank Transcendent's revival isn't straightforward, and even if he does revive, he'll need long seclusion to recover his peak power. I only recently advanced to 9th rank myself, and I'm not strong among 9th ranks. If he has just revived and isn't at full strength, I can help you block him and buy as much time as possible. Yue Ming felt a twinge of regret. If he'd known the consequences, he might never have transmigrated to the swallowed star parallel world. But regret changed nothing. All he could do was hope to reach 9th rank before that transcendent returned. Tong Tian asked, what do you want to do with that incomplete 9th tier supreme treasure? Keep it or let me handle it? 9th tier treasures are extremely valuable. Even an incomplete one is worth at least 100,000 origin coins. A complete one can be worth 10 times that. Yue Ming, I won't keep it. Please help me dispose of it. I don't want a ticking time bomb. No one knows what contingencies he might have left. Since Tong Tian had only just reached 9th rank, he might not be able to detect every contingency hidden in the supreme treasure. It was safer to dispose of it. Yue Ming had appraised the sphere in the chat group mall. Its value was indeed about 100,000 origin coins. Auctioned in the Myriad Heavens Mall Alliance, it might fetch 2 or 3 times that, but selling it directly to Tong Tian would also buy him a favor. Sect Master Tong Tian said, coincidentally, I don't have a 9th tier supreme treasure yet. This incomplete one could be repaired and used. I'll buy it, but I won't shortchange you. I'll transfer 200,000 origin points to you for it. Yue Ming agreed without hesitation. 200,000 origin points was a large sum and would accelerate his cultivation. A notification popped up. You have an uncollected red packet. He tapped to collect it. 200,000 origin points were credited to his account. With those origin points, Yue Ming planned to raise his bloodline rank to Ancestor-level Primordial Chaos bloodline. Ancestor level corresponds to Primal Chaos Lord rank, and by the Myriad Heavens classification is the peak of 7th rank. He began to convert origin points into origin coins and poured them into his bloodline. As the coins were consumed, his bloodline rank surged. He broke through from elementary Primordial Chaos bloodline all the way to Ancestor level, spending over 80,000 origin points in total. New status, rank World level Primordial Chaos Lifeform, 7th rank. Realm, Way of Eternal Chaos. Will, Primal Chaos Lord level Will. Bloodline, Ancestor level Primordius Bloodline. Secret Techniques, Sky-Cutting Secret Art. 3rd layer, World level Primordial Chaos Will Techniques. Heaven Severing Sword Technique. 12th form, World level Primordial Chaos Attack Techniques. The rise in bloodline rank also elevated his will from world level to Primal Chaos Lord level. Now, even without relying on the 8th tier Supreme Treasure Chaos Sword, Yue Ming possessed Primal Chaos Lord level combat power. The moment Yue Ming's breakthrough completed, all Primal Chaos Lord level and Ancestor level existences in the infinite primordial chaos space of the Swallowed Star parallel world sensed it. They turned toward him, aware that another Lord level being had appeared. His aura flare was fleeting, however, and receded so quickly that none of them could pinpoint his location. Only the imprint of his presence remained in their memories. In the infinite primordial chaos space, there were countless terrifying beings, but Primal Chaos Lords were universally acknowledged as the most powerful individuals, occupying the very pinnacle. Only Primal Chaos Lords could challenge other Primal Chaos Lords. When his bloodline reached Ancestor level, Yue Ming slipped into a mysterious state. Rules and profundities unfolded with razor clarity before his inner sight. The infinite primordial chaos space changed in his perception, as if the world had flattened from 3 dimensions into 2. In his vision, the entire cosmos unraveled into countless threads of rule and law. They were the ink that sketched the universe on the blank canvas. Though his eyes were closed, the complete way of eternal chaos unfurled inside his mind. He had fully comprehended and mastered it, and from that comprehension, he understood the most fundamental principles of the infinite primordial chaos space. Chapter 240, Breakthrough to Hunyuan Lord. Boom! Yue Ming's mind trembled. After grasping the essence, he took the final step and broke through to become a Hunyuan, Primal Chaos Lord. His entire being underwent a world-shaking transformation. His life level evolved once more, and this evolution far surpassed any previous one. Yue Ming opened his eyes. Countless streams of light flickered within his pupils. The supreme law that permeated the infinite primordial chaos space, stretching like a web to every corner, no longer hid its secrets from him. With the comprehension of essence complete, the way of eternal chaos that Yue Ming had mastered naturally began to evolve and condense into an endless primordial chaos power. Because each cultivator comprehends a different primal Tao, the primordial chaos power that forms is different for each person. The power Yue Ming condensed could be called Primordial Chaos Eternal Chaos Power, perhaps a result of previously using the Law Fusion device to merge 3,000 origin laws. The way of eternal chaos differs fundamentally from the ordinary chaos Tao. Primordial chaos eternal chaos power. Primordial chaos power encompasses everything. It is the foundation of all, the soil of the source world and countless other worlds. It is the highest level force in the infinite primordial chaos space. Only supreme existences at the Lord or Ancestor rank can wield it. Boom! Yue Ming stepped back into the infinite primordial chaos space and mobilized his primordial chaos eternal chaos power, ravenously absorbing the space's energy. Endless power surged together into a vast vortex and poured into him. His life level leaped again, the source world within him expanded wildly, and his strength soared at an unimaginable speed. Every gesture carried boundless might. Now that I have an Ancestor-level primordial chaos bloodline and have broken through to Hunyuan Lord, my strength far surpasses ordinary Hunyuan Lords and comparable ancestors. Those who can wield the highest level primordial chaos power are either Hunyuan lords who comprehend essence and condense primordial chaos power, or innate primordial life forms at the ancestor rank. There is a crucial difference between them. One side maximizes bloodline, the other understands essence and refines power. In pure strength, a Hunyuan lord who has comprehended essence and condensed primordial chaos power is generally stronger than an innate primordial life form of ancestor rank. Understanding the essence of power outweighs relying solely on a strong bloodline. Some special ancestor-level life forms, however, possess unique bloodlines that make them as powerful as Hunyuan lords and able to contend with them. Over the next tens of thousands of years, Yue Ming went into seclusion to consolidate his cultivation. During this period, he created the fourth layer of the sky-cutting secret art, a Hunyuan lord-level will technique, and the 13th form of the heaven-severing sword technique, a Hunyuan lord-level offensive skill. Rank, Hunyuan, Primal Chaos, Lord, Rank 7. Realm, Primordial Chaos. Eternal Chaos Power Will, Hunyuan Lord-level Will. Bloodline, Ancestor-level, Primordial Chaos Bloodline Secret Techniques, Sky-Cutting Secret Art, 4th Layer, Lord-level Will Technique, Heaven-Severing Sword Technique, 13th Form, Lord-level Attack Technique. In the Swallowed Star World system, Hunyuan Lords and Ancestor-level bloodlines are already the limit. How do I reach Rank 8 next? Break the system's shackles or switch systems. There are countless cultivation techniques in the chat group mall, including many Rank 8 methods across various systems at low prices. Yue Ming, however, did not want to switch systems unless absolutely necessary. The law fusion device can forcibly fuse different origin laws. Could it forcibly fuse different primordial chaos powers? If primordial chaos power is the soil, then a primordial chaos Tao is the seed. Whatever seed you plant in that soil will grow. Yue Ming had cultivated the way of eternal chaos and produced primordial chaos, eternal chaos power. If he mastered other primordial chaos Tao to evolve different primordial chaos powers, and if the law fusion device could fuse those powers, could he use it to break the bottleneck and reach Rank 8? It actually might work. After careful deduction, Yue Ming found the idea highly feasible, provided the law fusion device could really fuse different primordial chaos powers. Thinking of mastering many primordial chaos Tao, his mind turned to Yuan, the ancient Hunyuan lord who had once mastered the majority of the primordial chaos Tao in the infinite primordial chaos space and thereby created a source world. Then, let's give it a try. Having already comprehended essence, Yue Ming found learning other primordial chaos Tao comparatively easy. With his superior perspective, bottlenecks were rare. In just over 100,000 years, he mastered the primordial chaos fire Tao and condensed primordial chaos fire power. Fusion. Yue Ming hadn't activated the law fusion device since breaking through to elementary primal chaos life form. As he started it, the primordial chaos eternal chaos power and the primordial chaos fire power were forcibly fused, transforming into a stronger unknown primordial chaos power. Rank, Hunyuan Lord, Rank 7. Realm, Primordial Chaos, Eternal Chaos Power, Evolution Progress 1%, Will, Hunyuan Lord Level Will, Bloodline, Ancestor Level, Primordial Chaos Bloodline. Secret Techniques, Sky Cutting Secret Art, 4th Layer, Lord Level Will Technique, Heaven Severing Sword Technique, 13th Form, Lord Level Attack Technique. Yue Ming checked his rank panel again. It showed no major change, except that Evolution Progress had been added after Primordial Chaos, Eternal Chaos Power. His deduction was correct. The path was viable, and the law fusion device could indeed forcibly fuse different primordial chaos powers. But this method was only practical for Yue Ming himself. Most cultivators lacked a law fusion device. It is also theoretically possible to fuse primordial chaos powers without the device, just as origin laws can be fused, but that path is astronomically more difficult, nearly impossible. In fact, Yue Ming wasn't the first to think of fusing primordial chaos powers. Many had tried over endless years with no success. Yuan himself attempted every method he could imagine to fuse different primordial chaos powers, but all ended in failure. Ultimately, Yuan gave up. This is just one chapter for today. I'm going back to my hometown to visit relatives and deliver mooncakes. It's too much trouble to bring my desktop back. This chapter was written on my phone, which is both troublesome and slow. I've been writing intermittently since lunch and only finished one chapter now.